If you have been watching gardening videos about rice and soil, you have probably seen some dramatic claims. Worm populations exploding overnight, soil transforming in days, magic results from something sitting in your kitchen pantry. Some of what is being said is grounded in real soil biology. Some of it is significantly overstated. Today we are going to look at what rice actually does to soil, the documented mechanism, the real science behind it, which method the research suggests works best, and the one mistake that turns this from a soil activator into a soil problem. No lab coats, no sponsored content, just the biology explained honestly. Before we get into method, we need to talk about what rice is actually doing in the soil, because the mechanism is more interesting than most content explains. Rice is primarily composed of starch, complex carbohydrates that break down rapidly when they contact moisture and microbial activity. When rice or rice water enters the soil, it functions as a fast-release carbon source. Carbon is to soil microbes what glucose is to us. It is the primary energy source driving microbial metabolism. When a sudden, abundant carbon source enters the soil, dormant microbial populations wake up and begin multiplying, sometimes at a rate that visibly changes soil biology within days. Here is what the chain of events looks like underground, based on what soil biology research documents. First, bacteria and fungi detect the starch and begin breaking it down. As microbial populations multiply, they release enzymes that further decompose organic matter in the surrounding soil, not just the rice itself, but everything nearby. Second, this microbial bloom creates a localized zone of biological activity that is warmer, more chemically active, and more nutritionally dense than the surrounding soil. Third, earthworms detect this zone through chemical signals and moisture gradients and move toward it. This behavior is well documented in soil biology. Earthworms navigate toward decomposing organic matter with consistent directional accuracy. Fourth, more earthworm activity means more tunneling, more aeration, and more worm castings deposited directly in the activated zone. This mechanism is real. It is documented. The question that most content skips is, how much does it work in practice, and which method produces the best result? There are three main ways gardeners use rice in soil, and they are not equally effective. Method 1 is rice water. Rinsing uncooked rice in water until the water turns cloudy, then applying that water directly to the soil surface. The cloudy water contains starch and microbial fuel. This method is easy and accessible, but the starch concentration is low and the contact with soil microbes is brief. Results reported by gardeners using this method are real, but modest. Method 2 is buried cooked rice mixed with finished compost. A small handful of each combined and buried 2 to 3 inches deep near plant roots. This method is more effective for two reasons. First, burying the material puts it in direct contact with the existing soil biology at root depth, where the activity matters most. Second, mixing with compost gives the rice a microbial head start. The compost carries an established population of bacteria and fungi that immediately begin breaking down the rice, accelerating the entire process. Method 3 is buried uncooked rice with no compost, the same burial approach, but without the microbial head start. Uncooked starch takes longer to begin breaking down, which delays the biological response. Results are similar to Method 2, but slower. Based on how the mechanism works, the research-supported conclusion is clear. Burial near the root zone outperforms surface application, and the compost carrier makes a meaningful difference. The biology explains why. Decomposing material needs to be where the soil life is, and the compost seed population accelerates the whole chain. Let's go deeper on why this works, because understanding the mechanism helps you use it correctly. Saprotrophic fungi are the first major beneficiary of rice introduction. These are the white mycelium networks that gardeners learn to love, fine white threads spreading through the soil. They are responsible for breaking down stubborn organic matter like wood chips, straw, and old mulch layers that bacteria alone cannot efficiently process. When rice provides a readily available carbon source, saprotrophic fungal populations expand rapidly. Gardeners who have buried rice often report seeing white fungal threads appearing at the burial site within 4 to 7 days. This is the saprotrophic bloom. It is a sign the system is working, not a sign of disease. The second beneficiary is earthworm populations. Research in soil biology has consistently shown that earthworm density is higher in soil zones with active decomposition of organic matter. The chemistry is straightforward. Decomposing rice releases volatile compounds through the soil that earthworms can detect and navigate toward. As earthworm populations increase in the treated zone, their activity produces cascading benefits. Worm castings are one of the most biologically complete soil amendments available, containing plant-available nutrients, beneficial microbial populations, and plant growth compounds that synthetic fertilizer cannot replicate. A 2011 study published in Applied Soil Ecology found that even small concentrations of worm castings significantly outperform synthetic fertilizer in both germination rates and early plant growth. The mechanism is not just nutritional, it involves biological communication between the casting microbiome and the plant root system. The rice is not the fertilizer. The rice feeds the microbes feed the worms produce the castings feed the plants. That chain is why this works and why it takes time to show results. Here is what gardeners and soil researchers consistently observe when rice is introduced correctly. The realistic timeline. Days 1 through 5, nothing visible above ground. Underground, the starch is beginning to attract microbial attention. The carbon signal is starting to diffuse through soil moisture. Days 4 through 7, the first visible sign appears at the burial site. Fine white fungal threads emerging in the soil around the rice. This is saprotrophic colonization beginning. It is the biological equivalent of the system waking up. Week 2, earthworm activity begins to increase in the treated zone. Gardeners who excavate carefully near the burial site start noticing higher worm density compared to untreated areas. The chemical signal has reached and attracted the local worm population. Weeks 3 and 4, the soil in the treated zone begins to change character. Slightly darker, slightly more crumbly, slightly better at holding moisture. Worm castings begin accumulating in the root zone. If you dig near the burial site, you will find extensive mycelium and higher worm density. Beyond 30 days, plant response becomes visible in the treated zone. Root development is supported by the improved soil structure and nutrient cycling from worm activity. The treated area begins to look and behave like healthier, more productive soil. This timeline matters because many gardeners apply rice once, see nothing in a week, and conclude it does not work. The mechanism requires patience. The biology is building underground before anything shows above ground. Now, the most important thing in this video, the mistake that reverses everything. Quantity matters critically. Rice introduces carbon rapidly. If you introduce too much carbon too fast, the soil microbial population cannot process it aerobically. Oxygen gets consumed faster than it can be replaced, and the burial zone goes anaerobic. Anaerobic conditions produce the wrong bacterial populations and the wrong chemical compounds, including ammonium-based compounds that actively repel earthworms rather than attracting them. The system that was drawing worms in now drives them out. How do you know if you have gone anaerobic? The soil near the burial site will develop a sour or ammonia-like smell within a few days of over-application. That smell is the diagnostic. If you detect it, stop adding rice. Add dry carbon material like torn cardboard or dried leaves to the area and give the system a week to rebalance. The amount that works is a small handful, approximately 50 grams per square meter of garden bed. That is less than most people expect. More is not better. Consistent small inputs over time produce better results than a single large application. One more practical note. Always use plain, unsalted, unoiled rice. Cooked rice seasoned with salt, oil, or sauces introduces compounds that disrupt microbial balance. Kitchen leftover rice is fine as long as it was cooked plain with nothing added. Based on the documented mechanism, here is the method most likely to produce the best result. Step 1. Choose your method. For the fastest and strongest biological activation, bury cooked rice mixed with a small handful of finished compost. The compost provides the microbial head start that makes everything faster. If you only have uncooked rice, that works too. Just expect the response to be slower by several days. Step 2. Quantity. A small handful, about 50 growlers of the rice compost mixture per square meter. No more. The restraint is the key. Step 3, burial depth and location. 2 to 3 in deep within 6 to 8 in of your plant's root zone. The goal is to put the activation zone where the roots are actively growing. Do not bury directly against the stem. Leave some distance. Step 4, cover and wait. Backfill with soil, press gently, and leave it. Do not dig it up to check for at least 7 days. The biology needs undisturbed time to establish. Step 5, frequency. Repeat every 10 to 14 days. Consistent, small, regular inputs maintain the biological signal without overloading the system. This is more effective than one large application followed by nothing. Step 6, rice water as a supplement. Rice water does produce a real biological response, just a more modest one than buried rice. Use it between burial applications as an additional input. Apply in the evening or early morning to reduce evaporation and give the liquid time to penetrate the soil. What to watch for as a positive sign? White fungal threads appearing in the soil near the burial site within a week. These are saprophytic fungi doing exactly what you want. They are not a problem. They are progress. One more honest note about what rice cannot do, because realistic expectations matter. Rice is not a fertilizer. It does not directly add nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium to your soil in any meaningful quantity. What it does is activate the biological systems that improve how your soil processes and delivers nutrients that are already there. If your soil is severely depleted, compacted, or has been treated with pesticides recently, the biological population may be too low for the rice mechanism to gain traction quickly. In those cases, building soil health through mulching, composting, and reducing disturbance is the foundation. Rice is a multiplier on existing biology, not a replacement for it, and rice cannot fix poor drainage, pH problems, or structural issues that require physical soil remediation. It works within the biological layer of soil health, which is significant but not unlimited. Rice, compost, 2 to 3 in deep, a small handful every 2 weeks. That is the intervention. The soil biology does the rest on its own timeline underground without asking for anything more. If you try this and want to share what you observe in your own garden, especially if your climate or soil type is very different from temperate conditions, drop it in the comments. Real observations from real gardens are the most useful data this kind of content can generate. If this breakdown of soil biology has changed the way you look at the simple grains in your pantry, please subscribe and like this video. We are digging deep into the science of the earth to uncover the secrets that have been hidden beneath our feet. Join us as we cultivate a better future for our gardens. Our next deep dive into the treasures of the soil will be opening soon.